mean?
I don't want to be around you.
You're insecure.
You're mean.
You call me fat, you tell me I have a small whatever.
Because you called me fat.
You are dumb. You're not getting anything. You're out of my life.
Little backstory on Liz. She lost her father at a very young age, and she didn't have a great relationship with her mother because her mother was prioritizing spending time and raising her brother with special needs. On the other hand, Big Ed grew up with love, stability, and was quite literally babied by his mother. Despite being babied by his mother, Edward kicked her out of their house when he got back together with Liz for the 9th time.
Leave the ring and pack your stuff and move out. You're not ready to get married.
We've seen little Edward give his friends and families ultimatums throughout this entire season of Happily Ever After, even his fiancée Liz.
I'm telling you right now, Liz, until I know everything I need to know about you, I can't marry you. I'm going to be honest.
And to build up on that, a huge problem that fans have with him is that he will constantly pin whatever girl he's in a relationship with against his family. And what I mean by that is when he broke up with Liz, he would go and talk shit about her to his family, and when they were back together, he would be talking about his family to Liz. Let me know what y'all think about this. I know that everyone has a different Dow in terms of breaking up, getting back together. For me, I feel like if you're gonna break up with someone, it's better to just split and go your own separate ways amicably. I don't really see the point of getting back together without working on yourselves and growing as human beings before, you know, trying to make it work again. I feel like when you instantly get back together, you're going to encounter a lot of the same problems, which were the reason why you broke up. A couple of their fights were caught on camera, and it was a feast for the eyeballs of the fans. In fact, Liz let it slip one time that Ed actually told her that he would rather her friend than her. Liz will constantly try to gain Edward's love and approval, but most of all his loyalty. And time again, Ed proves that he is not a loyal dude, but what would we expect from the same man that cheated on his pregnant wife? As y'all can see, we're not in the normal setting. I just moved. I ordered a bunch of lights and a bunch of things to go on in the background, but I'm sorry that currently it's a little bit boring. I'm excited to review the 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After tell-all together. We're gonna do a whole evaluation on the psyche of Ed and Liz, their relationships, their ups and downs, all around. It's gonna be a very fun video, and hopefully I can give some insightful commentary and we can make jokes and laugh about everything together. Right now, let's go back in time 72 hours before the tell-all even started. We get a great look at Ed's merch. Hey, it's Bishop No Neck Francis, the maestro of Mayo, huh? This guy. We see Edward in his pajamas playing with his dogs, then he informs the viewers that he actually broke up with Liz for a 12th time.
I broke up with Liz again. Just things weren't going well. We were in counseling and I didn't see things changing. So I asked her to move out. So she moved out.
Right away, you can just tell that he's leaving a lot of information out and we're not getting the full story. I do want to say that for Edward, you know, he wants to control women in a relationship. It's about control, about making sure that they aren't talking to other men. They aren't out and about. He had a problem with Liz working at a restaurant. He even told Liz many times that if you're out until 2 a.m., that's something that I'm not comfortable with. And Liz is like, I work at a restaurant, dog. Hearing this, I'm sure that everyone that has worked restaurant and bar is chuckling right now because, of course, you are well aware that if you work those jobs and you're a reasonably good-looking person, you're gonna get hit on a lot. One of the foundations of a relationship is trust, and what I see from Edward is that his inability to trust hurts him immensely in relationships. But I think that stems from him not being a trustworthy man himself, so a lot of times he thinks that whoever his partner is gonna do him dirty like he does people dirty.
We decided that to give our relationship a chance, that we need to be separated. And I told her this time was different. I'm like, look, I love you. I want to work this out, but we can't do that living together.
Look at this dude with the black wife beater and the chain. He's looking like Dom from Fast and Furious. It's actually a blessing in disguise that Liz moved out because whenever her and Ed fought, to be fair, he would put her in fight or flight mode by telling her to leave the house. So it's very hard to feel safe in a place when someone can constantly just uproot you whenever you have an argument or you have to face yourself or an uncomfortable talking point comes up.
I wanted to live in my house by myself with my dogs. I just needed time to gain perspective on what I want in life.
Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. That feels to me like they're going backwards, right? Because they went from living together to living in completely different places for the sake of their relationship. But realistically, you should want to be around the person you're in a relationship with. If your relationship is progressing to the point where you're engaged, you should want to live together. And I get that, you know, if you're saving money, you could live at your parents' house. There's a bunch of different factors, but in terms of like Ed and Liz's relationship, if you can't coexist, I don't see it getting better. Cutscene over to Liz. She informs the audience that Ed broke up with her again and only gave her a week's notice before kicking her out of the house. Yo, Liz, you need to enter the hyperbolic time chamber and level yourself up. Take that time and place that time and energy that you give to others in a relationship on yourself, because realistically, you should want to create stability, not just for yourself, but for your daughter as well.
I don't know how many times Ed's broken up with me.
We've watched this girl for years try to obtain the validation from Ed that she should have been giving herself. Next, we see Liz's friend JLo, who informs us that Liz showed up at her place with trash bags full of her belongings after Ed kicked her out of the house. JLo seems like a good friend for Liz because she's trying to convince her friend that she doesn't need anybody. She should be focusing on herself. And I'm honestly surprised because Liz is actually a Gemini and she displays a lot of Cancer behavior. Side note, sometimes on the show, we'll see some friends where we're thinking, you know, are they really their friends? Or was it just one of those things where the producers threw somebody in there? But this JLo girl seems like a way more authentic and real friend for Liz than that blonde girl that Ed wanted to fuck.
I'm very angry at Ed, but I'm kind of like angry with myself because I kind of knew subconsciously that I knew I'd kind of have to do it on my own again, but I didn't exactly prepare for it.
Liz has aged just about 10 years in this one-sided relationship with the Mucinex man. Codependency is a terrifying thing. Over the years, I've actually seen many women fall into this trap where they will go for an older guy thinking they're more established, they're more emotionally intelligent, and they will still get cheated on by that same guy. That way of thinking is flawed because realistically, we are becoming the version of ourselves that we identify and associate with in this present time. So it really doesn't matter about age. Like Alexander the Great started his conquest of the entire world at age 19. Trust me, do not go based on age. I have met men that are twice my age with the emotional intelligence of a high schooler.
Do you miss Ed?
Yeah, I do. I do miss him. But we've been seeing each other.
What?
I can't believe she's still with him. Did all this guy's neck meat go to his cock? I'm just trying to figure out what the appeal is because I can't see anything other than going on reality TV. Cutting back to little Edward, he informs us that Liz and him are still dating.
She has her own place. I have my own place. She comes over. Right now, we're just having a lot of fun, just kind of exploring each other again.
Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this, but I'm pretty sure that they're just stalling to be on more seasons of the show because Ed's money is dependent on the show. Realistically, these two jokers had 2 engagement parties and ended up deciding at the end of the episodes, oh, we don't want to get married anymore. So like the cynical part of my brain is wondering how much of that was premeditated.
I've learned something after every single breakup, but I really feel this time that if I break Liz's heart one more time, you know, it's gonna be the end.
This dude has said the same sentence multiple times, obviously to build up suspense for his segment. From the manner in which Ed is speaking on his relationship with Liz, it's very obvious that he's not as emotionally invested as she is. Also, side note, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, but isn't it hazardous to put 2 dogs in a backpack and be driving a Vespa when you can't turn your neck? Like, I'm genuinely concerned for the doggos, especially because people drive crazy in Cali. Liz clearly has attachment issues, and it's understandable given the amount of childhood trauma that she has, but I really think that she needs to work on distinguishing an attachment and a genuine connection. At this moment in her relationship, she's genuinely concerned because she doesn't even know where she stands with Ed.
I don't know what we are. Ed wants me to wear my ring. I do wear it, but I don't know if we're engaged. I don't know. I don't know.
What I'm about to say might be uncomfortable for a lot of people, but if you have a genuine connection with someone, loving them won't hurt you. And honest to God, I know that for me, I've been in a situation like that. Like, I think we've all been in relationships where loving someone actually hurts us and does more harm than good, but you have that thought process of, I can change that person. You really need to work on putting yourself first in this relationship, Liz, because what you're doing is you're making yourself smaller to fit, and it's somewhere that you're not welcome. It's somewhere that doesn't feel safe. You don't have that sense of security in this relationship, and realistically, if this man really loved you, it wouldn't be this painful.
I don't want somebody like you.
If I were to be fragile tomorrow, I don't think he would take care of me in the way that I would take care of him.
Liz, your room looks tired even for your mom, for your grandma.
A true connection certainly doesn't look like this. I feel like men start to miss women when they start to feel like they're slipping through their fingers. Liz, you are like a lingering fart. No matter how this man disrespects you in whatever way he does so.
You are dumb. You're not getting anything. You're out of my life.
You still choose him. You choose to stay in this relationship. So realistically, if he's getting away with this toxic behavior, why would he stop? Why would he fix it? Why would he change and grow as a human being when you're still gonna be there at the end of the day? You're not being treated with respect in this relationship, plain and simple, but at some point you have to ask yourself, what can I do to command more respect in a relationship setting? It starts with keeping the promises that you make to yourself. When you constantly say things like, Ed, if he doesn't change his behavior, I'm gonna leave him, but you still choose to stay, you're breaking the promises that you make to yourself because you're not in fact leaving. When realistically, I feel like your higher self would leave. Next time we see little Edward Brown, he arrives in New York City for the tell-all. In the car ride, he informs the viewers that him and Liz will be arriving at different times, and that makes him feel very anxious.
We're trying to get to a happy place, so not sure how it's gonna go. She's somebody that I care for very much.
Dang, he went from saying that he loves this girl to this is a girl that he cares for very much. As we can see from looking back on Ed's past relationships, especially his relationship with Rosemary Vega, he is very comfortable telling girls what they want to hear, and he will often tell a girl that he loves her when he in fact doesn't love her. If Ed truly loved Liz and valued her, he wouldn't constantly put himself in a position to lose her. Cutting over to Liz, she checks into her hotel in NYC, and she admits to the audience that she doesn't know what kind of emotions she's gonna have or what emotions are gonna resurface at the tell-all, so she's a little bit nervous.
The person who asked me to marry him wasn't there for me.
She goes on to explain that she can't just be friends with Ed, so she's like an all or nothing kind of person, and they really need to define where they stand in this relationship at the tell-all. Morning of the tell-all, we see the NPCs interacting. The first ones to meet are Stan and Ed.
And my therapist says, look, you need to be okay with being alone.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't be a tell-all without Ed bringing up something his therapist said.
Shalom, how do I greet you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wait, assalamu I'll see you later.
Are you dumb?
Fast forward, Bilal shows up, and Ed is fangirling over Bilal because he's actually a huge fan of how he tested the fuck out of Shy, because Ed is also a man that tests the fuck out of whatever girl he's with.
I have a lot of respect for you, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Ed's your biggest fan.
I'm your biggest fan.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Oh, it's my penis. In your hands only.
I'm your biggest fan.
So all the NPCs leave the waiting room to go and start the tell-all, and Angela comes in hot. The Dirty Bird was looking like the witch from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, smelling like urine and acting like a crackhead turned pro wrestler. It was actually so chaotic and loaded that it deserves it. Acting like a crackhead turned pro wrestler. It was actually so chaotic and loaded that it deserves its own video, so that video will come out later this week.
Tell me about this living arrangement that you guys have.
I was feeling smothered, and she needed her space, and we weren't getting along, and it was the best thing for our relationship.
Interesting that Ed was feeling smothered with Liz constantly around the house, yet he didn't want her to go back to work so that she would be financially reliant on him and easier for him to control. There's something that a lot of possessive dudes do, and that's making the girl quit their job and be financially reliant on them because they're afraid of their girl being around dudes in a work setting. The worst part is whenever they got in an argument, he would always go for the argument of, you should be grateful that I'm financially supporting you, when realistically she would be able to make that money herself if she was allowed to work, which is not only manipulative but very immature, especially because this man is 57 years old.
So Liz, did Ed kick you out?
He wants to say no.
I did not kick her out.
Well,
And
what do you say, Liz?
Yes. He
I
told
don't agree
me,
with that,
He
but-
told me
Yo, this man's bun is hanging on for dear life. But on a more serious note, it is very telling that his initial response is to invalidate whatever Liz is saying when she's trying to hold him accountable. Not to mention, if you zoom in on Ed's face, he's already trying to make himself cry so that the audience will perceive him as the victim.
So, yes, I was kicked out twice. So at this point, I had 5 days to move out. That was it. I couch surfed, everything like that.
The cure for defensiveness is taking responsibility, and this is something that Edward really struggles with. Ed and Liz are very bad at managing conflict, processing their emotions, and communicating in a healthy way. Then Jovi calls Ed a piece of shit, and I'm not gonna lie, I chuckled because right now Jovi is going in on little Edward. What surprises me about Ed is how dog shit he is at communicating despite going to therapy for years. Realistically, regardless of what the argument is about, most people in a relationship just want to be heard. And if Ed could figure out how to communicate in a more efficient way and inform Liz that what she's saying to him he is hearing, instead of just dismissing everything she says, he would have a healthier relationship with her.
I begged her, Liz, it's not working. Please move out.
Mm-hmm. 'Cause-
I will help you in any way I can. And she wouldn't. 'Cause- 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 '
Because she loves you, Ed.
It has nothing to do with love.
That's actually not what Saw, because withdrawing to avoid conflict actually destroys relationships. When Ed says things to Liz like she's fucked up in the head, and constantly whenever they get in an argument, he tries to convince her that it's all her fault and she's the problem and she's crazy for thinking the things that she's thinking, and he never validates her feelings or even listens to her. But despite that, this girl will just drive over to his house to talk about it face to face and work out these issues because she knows what it feels like to be abandoned. Not everybody likes Liz, I'm fully aware of that, but her nurturing side is a really beautiful thing, I think. It's just that it's wasted on somebody that doesn't appreciate it. Edward, you don't know how good you have it, because there are very few people in the world that would put up with the amount of disrespect that you've thrown this girl's way and still drive over and want to communicate and talk to you and work out these issues.
Liz, listen, let me tell you something, give you some advice. When you get married to this guy, you have to be bold like me. My house. Take ownership of that property, because if he's going to marry you, you have to start moving more bold.
Shida, you come off incredibly entitled. Shut up, okay? Use words like our house, because realistically, Bilal owns the house. He paid for the house and everything. And while we're on the subject, if you had so much going on and you had such a profitable business in Trinidad, you wouldn't have been so quick to leave and get hitched with a guy that you only known in real life for about 2 weeks. So for you, there's a lot of things that are bullshit. I agree that Bilal's very passive aggressive and he has a lot of things to work through. However, Shy came up in this relationship and that's facts.
I'm not jealous.
Okay.
Liz, do you agree with that?
No,
No? Why not?
because he's jealous.
I'm not. Liz, are you jealous of me?
Man really tried to ego that, looking like Humpty Dumpty head ass. Why would anyone be jealous of you, dog? Let's roleplay right now. I'll be Ed, y'all be Liz, and we're gonna replay that clip that we just watched, except for I'm gonna give a healthier response than the one that Ed gave.
Liz, do you agree with that?
No,
No? Why not?
because he's jealous.
When you say I'm jealous, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Would you be willing to give me an example and go into further detail so I can better understand why you think that? It's that easy. If you have that problem of invalidating your partner's feelings, making them constantly feel like they're wrong for feeling the things that they feel, it can really lead to a breakup, to be honest with you, because no one can just sit feeling like they're not heard in a relationship for a long duration of time. At some point, they're going to emotionally check out. So realistically, the best approach is you don't have to agree with them. You can still have your own opinion while at the same time respecting your partner's opinion. Ed's approach of immediate denial would frustrate just about anyone in a relationship setting, because like I said earlier, sometimes people just don't want to feel it.
No.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Oh shit, you guys, the passive aggressiveness is coming out.
Do you ever consider living with Ed again?
I will never live with him again until it's us picking a place together and deciding on it together. I will
Which
never
will have
move
two
back
separate
in.
bedrooms.
Oh wow, you want to be like roommates and sleep in separate beds, huh? I can't believe that this dude just said that. What is the point of being in a relationship or being engaged to somebody if you don't want to like just stay up all night talking to them in the same bed, if you don't want to be around them? I think just about every fan is confused why Liz is settling for a man that not only constantly disrespects her, but doesn't even want to sleep in the same bed as her.
It's not fair to constantly push me away and pull me back in,
No,
because
that's
I am
not
on
fair.
my very, very last straw.
As you
And
should be.
so am I. So am I.
So am I. He always has to chirp and say something. Buddy, can you just for once in your life validate your partner's feelings without making the situation about yourself? Realistically, Ed, until you can do that and you can actually communicate in an efficient way, you are never going to be in a lasting relationship. That's just the truth. Next thing you know, they bring out Ed's former friend Rich, and Ed asks Liz to be nice before he even walks out.
Liz, be nice.
The last time we saw Rich and Ed interact, they met up at a park, and Ed told Rich that he couldn't be his friend anymore because Rich didn't support his relationship with Liz. Like I said earlier, Edward likes to place ultimatums on his friends and family when realistically he doesn't need to do so.
She gave me a 2-week ultimatum. Either you marry me in 2 weeks or a commitment, or I'm out. That's
I said
exactly what
either
you said.
you commit
You
yourself
marry me
back
within
into
2
it.
weeks or I'm
No.
out of here.
Yeah, so right now Ed is trying to control the narrative, and when Liz is trying to say, I didn't say that, I said this, he's just cutting her off and keeps repeating the same line. So he does this a lot, to be honest with you. Ed goes on to try and paint his fiancée Liz in a bad light and make it seem like she's in the wrong for simply standing up for herself. and trying to establish a healthy boundary for herself, and that is either you're going to take our relationship seriously and work on yourself, or I am going to leave. He's trying to spin that into, you were making me feel sad by saying that you would leave me for other men if I didn't treat you right. When it's like, realistically, she should leave you for other men if you don't treat her right.
You listen with 2 ears and you don't talk.
The first thing you need to do is learn how to respect your fiance.
No, it's not. Okay, you're emotional. You're just being emotional. So listen, Liz, you're not coachable. You think you know everything. You're as jealous as I am.
Ed goes on to say, you threatened me and said that you would sleep with other men. And Liz says, yeah, because you broke up with me. I was just telling you what I'm going to do. I wasn't threatening you. And then Ed says, well, you don't need to threaten me about it. And it just seems like he's like a little kid. Despite being 57 years of age, his fight language is very immature. Liz and Ed are fighting like cats and dogs. Meanwhile, the friend Rich is sitting on the couch saying, you guys aren't a good match. To make the situation even messier, it turns out that Liz and her mother caught Ed on an Asian dating website.
I got a screenshot through Instagram.
She spies on me.
I got a screenshot through Instagram that my mom found. How am I spying on you when it's an Asian dating website?
Okay, so let's
Ed,
back.
you were on a dating.
Okay, let's
you were
back
on an
up. Let's
Asian
okay.
dating website?
Again,
Old Caucasian male searching for youthful Asian woman. Caesar, Ed, when guys like this have a fetish for women of a specific race, it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable, but let me know what y'all think about in the comments. I feel like there's beautiful women from every single race, so I feel like that has nothing to do with it, right? And like realistically, it's like if you meet your soulmate and she's a race that's not your type, are you gonna not talk to her because she's that race? Like, I feel like that in itself is dumb. Then the host goes full savage mode and asks Liz how it feels knowing that Ed has a type and it's girls that look like Rose and not her.
Liz, did you immediately make the connection between the fact that Ed's ex was Asian and him being on
No,
these
ever since Ed and I were even just friends, I knew what type he liked.
I'm with Jovi. He can't help but laugh at the situation. I don't blame the guy. This is so awkward for Liz, and we all know that if she looked like Rose, she would get treated a lot differently in this relationship with Ed. It is very shallow that Ed showed more compassion to Rose than Liz in their relationship, when realistically he didn't even know that girl. Like, he only treated her better based off her looks.
Ooh, that Britney Spears girl, she got great knockers. But she's a tad muscular. Actually, you know what? Her ass would do too if she had a better grill.
Next thing you know, the host asks Ed if he's been in contact with Rose, his ex, and he tries to dodge the question at first until he finally says, well, I may have, and at this moment, I knew that he slid into those DMs.
Have you spoken to your ex-fiancée, Rose?
I may have. I don't remember.
You may. How are you not? It's a yes or no.
I don't know. I don't know if I was or not.
Interestingly enough, when Ed and Liz broke up after their first season on the show together, she did an interview with John Walters, who is a former cast member that was on the show. In that interview, Liz was really vulnerable, and she admitted that she was very hurt by the fact that when they were broken up, Ed wished Rose a happy Mother's Day and not Liz. Liz also had some very interesting things to say about little Edward in this interview with John Walters until she finally got back together with him, and then she just never brought it up again.
I don't think you deserve another show. I do believe everything that everybody had warned me about you. You're a narcissist, you're a conditioner, you're a groomer. I feel sorry for your sexual assault victim because now I do believe her. And literally, you're not a good person. Your friends enable your behavior. And you definitely used me. And everything that I spoke about in this, you know damn well that I have proof to back it up.
Yo, my bad for calling you a predator or whatever, but do you still want to go on the show together and rip a bunch of clout? At this point, Lizzie, it's like, how many red flags can you see before you leave this dude? Well, maybe just one, because it turns out Rosemary Vega comes out, joins the cast members, and informs everyone that Ed did hit her up and slide into her DMs. It was extra funny to watch because at first Ed was overjoyed to see Rose, and I found that disrespectful in itself, like the amount of joy on his face. Like, he lit up like a kid on Christmas when he saw this girl. And I feel like for Liz, it's like, he doesn't look at you that way.
Hi, Rose. I don't know if she can see me.
Hi, Ed.
How are you?
Good.
Little Edward Brown, you are a pig for not being an honorable man and sliding into your ex's DMs when you're an engaged man. Even if you weren't, if you're in a committed relationship with someone and you're still chasing the shadow of your ex, you should be single. Earlier in the tell-all, Ed literally told Kim that his therapist said that you should be comfortable being single. You need to take that advice. You actually need to be single and work on yourself, because realistically, no one's going to be able to trust you if you're always just fucking cheating on everybody. You have literally done this before. On the last tell-all I saw you on with Liz, you were messaging other girls, other cast members from the show. And I've seen the DMs that you've sent them. You ever seen the Phantom of the Opera? The Phantom of the Opera, it like legit made me cry, because here's the thing. The Phantom loved the girl enough to let her go at the end. He knew that people were coming for him. If she lived a life with him, she would be on the run. It wouldn't be a good life for her. And he was a big enough man to let her go because he genuinely loved her and wanted her to find happiness. You have not reached that point yet, bro. You really keep Liz around so that you have someone to sleep with and someone that's easy to manipulate, and it's convenient for you to have someone to go on the show with. Those are the only reasons why you're with this girl, and if you could pull anyone better, you would dump her like that. And what an inflated ego this guy has to think that he has a shot with Rose, dog. She left you behind in the dust. She came up with a very successful YouTube channel. She became a model in the Philippines. She opened up her own store in the Philippines that she named after her son. This is a very grounded woman who is in a relationship with Greg, a very successful real estate agent from Australia, who actually wants to step up and be a great dad for her kid. So it's completely different levels you're on. And it's not about money, it's not about success. It's about someone that actually cares and gives a fuck and has real intentions to build a life together. You're not even there yet.
So Ed said that he hasn't spoken to you at all, and then now he's saying he can't remember if he spoke to you.
I didn't.
That's not true. Because he messaged me and I have screenshot.
Ed messaged Rose, I hope all is well. You look amazing with 2 exclamation marks. Rose responded, thanks. Then Ed said, I want to come to the Philippines again to see you if you're open. Rose responded, yes, you can come here. You're welcome here. Oh shit, get exposed, you weird little bitch. He really tried to lie his way out of the situation. I know, ladies and gentlemen, the nerve of this man. So Liz reads this out loud to the other cast members and just about the entire world. She walks back to her seat, and would you believe it? The Mucinex man tries to gaslight her.
You just said that you were in communication with her.
Liz, sit down.
Nah, yo, hold my food.
You just lied
Hey,
to
Liz.
everybody right here.
Thank God that this happened and he got exposed in front of everyone, because if this happened in private, maybe he would get away with that. Shout out to Kim and Jovi and all the cast members that are holding Ed accountable. They actually did a really good job on the tell-all.
This is her. This is who Liz is.
She's reading the proof is in the pudding. She's reading the stupid text.
Tell me about that text.
Just
Tell me what
said
about that text.
I've not spoken to her.
See?
No wonder so many girls got massive trust issues. We got a man that looks like an egg cheating. This sexually frustrated egg humanoid was trying to message his ex to meet up in the Philippines when it's like, dude, you have a whole girl that's crazy about you. I'm at a loss for words, y'all. This situation is so messy, and I'm gonna have to continue this at a later time because I actually have an appointment. I'm going trench coat shopping with Computer Dave. We're actually friends in real life. Let me know if you want to see my good friend David Murphy in a video. He doesn't like Ed at all, and also I would love to hear the Lana tea, but let me know if you guys would be interested in that. I'm gonna keep y'all updated on this Big Ed situation because it's getting messier and messier. Super thankful for y'all watching my video. Really appreciate it. Comment below, subscribe. Let's be friends. Let's be friends. Follow me on Twitch and on Instagram right now.
You want me to be on
Liz.
your side when
No,
your
I want you to trust. I want you to stop acting like a prima donna. Stop acting like a prima donna.
You still
And stop
wanted to be
performing.
with her.
Let me have my ring back.
Oh.
Inside of Big Ed's residence in San Diego, we see many trinkets with his face on it. He has a plethora of merch on the shelf because the only thing he's actually sold in his life are his soul and self-respect. Big Ed's more of a giver, and we can see that by how he's given the audience of this show their 13th reason.
You are dumb.
I don't know if y'all are into mythology, but he would give Narcissus a run for his money because this man actually has his own face tattooed on his leg. This little goblin informs us that he broke up with Liz for the 9th or 10th time. Who's counting, right? And it turns out that he's been living alone for the past 3 months. He gave her less than a week to find a new place when he kicked her out.
Wow.
Ed's reason for kicking his fiance out of the house is that he wanted to live alone, and as we know, this is a very selfish man that dances to his own tune. About a year ago, his fiance Liz jumped at the opportunity to be engaged to him. In fact, they were only together for a week before they jumped into this engagement, which is moving very fast. Cutscene over to Liz. She informs the audience that Ed broke up with her again and only gave her a week's notice before kicking her out of the house. Like, gosh, Edward, at least allow your fiance more than 7 days to find a new place. It just feels like you got got evicted. Dude literally treats this girl like she's an inconvenience, and she allows this behavior. Liz was couch surfing for a minute until she found the ideal apartment for her and started living on her own. Liz admits to the audience that she's not sure what her relationship status with Edward is. He wants her to wear her engagement ring and they're going on dates, but it certainly doesn't feel like they're engaged. He said that that ring cost $13,000, so I'm sure she could get a good amount of money for that. What's that saying? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Remember, on The Single Life, these two were only together for a month before Ed asked Liz to move in, and she said yes. So that's a red flag for both of them. Ed obviously has immense trust issues and jealousy issues, which is why he wanted her to move in so that he could watch her all the time and verify that she wasn't cheating on him. And for Liz, I get that San Diego's expensive, but you need to hold out for longer than a month. Blink twice if you're okay, sis. At first, Ed was infatuated with Liz because he couldn't believe a real-life girl wanted to sleep with him, but after a while, he got bored of her vagina. Also, side note, did y'all notice that every time that Ed and Liz create distance, she starts to look healthier? I'm not even kidding. It's like her skin all of a sudden clears up. And I'm not surprised because stress really ages you, and we've seen how this man treats this girl on camera. Can you imagine how he treats her off camera? I watched Kingdom of Heaven the other night for the 20th time, and I find it crazy that King Baldwin and Salah Hadin treat each other with more respect than Ed treats his fiance in this relationship. As I said earlier, Liz moved out on her own. However, Ed and her have negotiated a deal, and that is that every other night they have to sleep together, spend the night together. Can you imagine how good her skin would look if she moved that to once a week or seeing him once a month? She might even look Asian. Fast forward to the tell-all, Angela arrives, causes a shitstorm, but before she blows up on everyone, she establishes that her and Ed are friends. You ever hear that saying, real recognizes real? Well, in this case, inbred abomination recognizes inbred abomination. They should do a 90 Day Fiancé swap situation and put Angela in a relationship with Ed, because I think the two villains would get along. That would be like if Hades was sucking off Jafar. And how about right after Liz and Ed broke up, she caught him on an Asian dating site. Konnichiwa, genki desu ka? Watashi wa kubinashi Ed. Could y'all imagine if this little freak went to Japan? His pants would probably be stained white from coming so frequently and violently. Humpty Dumpty quite literally had a big fall. He was confronted by his fiance about his infidelity, and this is what he had to say to defend himself.
You just said that you weren't in communication with her.
Liz, sit down. Jesus
Did
Christ.
he not?
Sit down? What is she, your slave, bro? Even Jabba the Hutt spoke to Leia with more respect. Speaking of Jabba, y'all related? Because I'm starting to notice some similar features. Haha, maybe cosmic cousins. It's a big universe after all. At first, when Liz asked Ed if he messaged his ex behind her back, he lied about it. I'm not surprised he lied. Narcissists will often lie because the truth is offensive to them and they're terrified of facing themselves.
Ed, you can rattle off every single thing that Liz has done, but when I ask you a simple question like, did you reach out to Rose? You told me no 3 times, that you didn't remember.
I might have been mistaken.
They're extremely vindictive, calculating, and their memories of offenses is uncanny. Ed the narcissist wasn't expecting his victim Liz to retaliate against him in this moment. However, she is, and instead of sitting with himself and acknowledging his own mistakes, he instead would rather paint her out to be mentally ill.
It was just frustrating for Liz to sit there and play the victim, which she's not.
Never seen a better example of a narcissist on a reality TV show. The way he reacts is actually textbook. Little Edward Brown in this moment is bugging out worse than Light Yagami when Elle told him that what he was doing was evil. Obviously, in terms of intelligence, Light Yagami is up here and Ed is down here. However, they are both very manipulative dudes. Thank God that Rose came with the screenshots, because otherwise I don't think this little creep would have gotten caught. It goes back a lot to what I said in my past video, and that's that their relationship is built on convenience, not love, because if she wasn't going on the show with him, he would not be in this relationship with her. Ed's love for Liz is very conditional, and the condition is I get to drag you on this reality TV show and treat you like absolute dog water. And I actually struggle to call it love, because realistically love requires discipline, and in a relationship setting, if you genuinely love someone, it's like the whole world is in black and white and she's in color. Flat out, Big Ed has never been in love in his life. He only tells girls that he loves them so that they drop their guards and he can get those 3 inches in. Thank you. Next. To be honest, the majority of 90 Day Fiancé fans are very easygoing people. I mean, even though this is kind of a cult following that watches the show and watches our videos, it's like, realistically, if you're not a shitty person, like, we're gonna like you and root for you. The problem with Ed is that we saw how he treated Rosemary Vega, and the majority of us were checked out after that. Because at first, I feel like a lot of us felt bad for him because of his medical condition, and because he seemed like kind of a loser during his introduction. But then when we saw how he treated Rose, treated his family, treated other people, it was very apparent that this dude sucked. And it's actually a shame, because I don't know if y'all are into quantum physics. I really am getting into it, and I feel like there's an alternate reality where this guy didn't use his medical condition as a way to get sympathy from people, and and instead used it to inspire. However, the version of himself that we got in this current timeline is just not it.
Did you say yes or no? Did you or did you not just say, I have not spoken to her?
Me no speak English.
Nah, he did not just hit this girl with the me no speak English. Chupapi muñaño. Dude just got exposed for cheating on his fiance and is taking zero accountability and instead finds it appropriate to make jokes about the situation. We are all attracted to what we think we deserve, and clearly Liz thinks that she deserves toxicity.
What the? You know what? It's not something to joke about, Ed.
It is, because this is her. This is who Liz is.
She's reading the proof is in the pudding. She's reading the stupid text.
Tell me about that text.
Just
Tell me what about that text.
I've not spoken to her.
See?
Right away, Kimberly is speaking up and being very vocal defending Liz, which is nice to see because in the past she hasn't normally taken a woman's side. Not to mention my respect for her has really gone up because she didn't get back together with Suspect. For Edward, it's very typical for a narcissist to flip the script and immediately try to paint the victim in a negative light after being exposed. Ed is a tricksy little hobbitsis because he actually is a vulnerable narcissist who disguises himself as a grandiose one. For those of you that are unaware, grandiose narcissists have a very high opinion of themselves and truly believe themselves to be superior to everyone else in the room. While on the other hand, vulnerable narcissists have low levels of self-esteem, high levels of insecurity, and tend to compensate by focusing only on themselves. Liz has openly admitted multiple times on the show that the Ed on camera and off camera are completely different dudes. Big Ed is the online persona of Ed's most confident self, when realistically off camera he's more like this.
Hey friends, this is Big Ed. I was just helping a friend buy a Vespa, and this is a lesson in don't allow your consideration to become your clients. And here was the example. On the way over to the client's house, my friend was worried that the guy wasn't going to let the Vespa go for $400 less than what he wanted to sell the Vespa for. I'm like, look, be positive. Don't let that be your consideration because it became his. Again, short story long, we got the Vespa for $400 less, and my friend's super happy.
Now obviously this side of him isn't seen by the majority of people because if anyone recognizes him in public or comes up to him and knows him from the show, he breaks into character like that. So Liz ordered the 2-for-1 special, didn't even realize, and I'm sure that because she's a Gemini, she felt some sense of relatability to these two different sides of him. Liz also comes from a very unstable upbringing, and her relationship with her mother isn't great because as a kid, her mother focused more on raising her brother with special needs than her. And when Liz speaks on her mother, you can tell that she's withholding a lot of information that maybe she doesn't feel comfortable sharing with the public or the fans of the show. So I'm really curious what that relationship with her mother looked like, because a lot of times we will date people that resemble our parents because comfort and familiarity feels safe. But of course the issue with that is obviously if you had a terrible relationship with your mother and you're chasing a partner that reminds you of your mother, not the smartest thing to do.
So Ed said that he hasn't spoken to you at all, and then now he's saying he can't remember if he spoke to you.
I didn't.
That's not true. Because he messaged me and I have screenshot.
Liz has also been very vocal about the fact that she's always been in toxic relationships, and for her it's like the only person that can save you and break that cycle is you. So I would love to see her take that power and that energy that she places in relationships and put that on herself and just watch herself grow. I've seen a lot of women put themselves in the tower and wait for a man to come save them when realistically you should have been your hero of your story your entire life.
You just lied to
Liz.
everybody right here.
Liz, what are you thinking right now?
Ooh, that smug look he gives her is so tilting. Doesn't it just want to make you grab him and compress him more into a bowling ball and throw him and score a strike?
Nice throw!
It's such a fucking cliche. He's the kind of dude that would get caught cheating on his wife 20 years later and then leave her for the secretary. The only thing that this girl has to gain in this relationship is being on reality television, and I'm sure she's capitalizing on that. The majority of the cast members will rip cameos and make money that way from fans of the show. However, I just wish that she understood that there's multiple paths to get to where you want to go.
Tired of all the lies and deflection and projection.
And sometimes the money just isn't worth the disrespect. It's almost like she believes that she can change him. However, he's already dumped you 11 times. He takes every opportunity to show you who he really is. So at some point, Liz needs to walk away from this relationship for the sake of her and her child.
I know, alam ko naman na kung magsasabi ka ng totoo. Gaya ng ginawa mo sa akin, nagsinungaling ka, bakit nagsisinungaling ka din sa kanya kung totoong mahal mo talaga siya?
Well, first of all, I'm not lying to Liz.
Little Edward Brown, you just got caught lying to Liz, your fiance, in front of the entire world. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not going to be able to manipulate or gaslight your way out of this one, buddy. Since Rose left Head and Shoulders, she experienced quite the glow up, and I think that it's very mature of her to come on the tell-all in order to support Liz. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this, but it's really cool to see women supporting women. Usually y'all just tear each other down.
I'm not denying the fact that I was on a dating website a year and a half ago. I admitted that. I didn't remember if I had texted Rose or not, and Liz and I were broken up.
This coward will do anything to not face himself. Let's break down what he's really saying here. Edward, she's upset with you that you purposely started an argument with her in order to break up with her and then use that as justification to go on an Asian woman dating site to flirt with women. Edward's trying his best to be technical right now instead of accountable, and we can see that by how this man just doesn't acknowledge what he did is a bad thing. If you were a high-value man, you would have recognized after your first breakup with Liz that you were toxic for her life, and instead of getting back together with her to go on the show, you would have let her go so that she could find happiness. I have no doubt in my mind that Liz's soulmate is somewhere out there, but it's hard to find your soulmate when you're getting strung along by an egg. And as for his point of, I don't remember hitting at my ex on IG, seems like something you would remember. Highly doubtful. Nice try. Stay hard stuck.
It's a lie. Don't even know. It's a lie.
You guys, you're with somebody for 2 years. You broke up 10 times. I don't even know, honestly, if we were together or not.
Eddie's such a cap-ass loser. How do you not know that you're in a relationship with someone, bro? Every time we see it on our screens, he mentions how many times him and Liz broke up, and usually the count just goes up by 1 every time we see him. So he's keeping track, doing those mental tallies. However, he expects us to believe that he wasn't aware that they were in a relationship. Not to mention, he just got caught lying in front of everyone about messaging his ex behind his girl's back. So everything coming out of his mouth is diarrhea.
Rose, do you think that Ed is still interested in having a relationship with you?
1000% man wants to clap cheeks in the Philippines, otherwise he wouldn't have DM'd her on Instagram. Unfortunately for him, Rose points out that he's in a committed relationship.
Ayaw niya kasi nasa isang relasyon siya ngayon.
She's saying he's interested, but he's in a relationship right now.
Y'all, the silence is deafening, so awkward, like all of the air got sucked out of the room. Right now in this moment, Liz looks so uncomfortable because she's coming to terms with the fact that she's never gonna be enough for this man. Liz is just proof that you don't have to watch Naruto to understand pain. I had to get an anime reference in.
I don't think I have any more respect.
Let me have my ring back.
Wow, what a dick. Are you kidding me? Couldn't give a more incel response if he tried. Give me the ring back with his smug look. Don't you just want to like rip his face off and wear it to your birthday party? Okay, wait, I don't know if I can say that.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
No, big head.
Oh, wow.
You would think that this man would have more respect for the woman that sat with him in uncomfortable moments and did the most to make him feel loved the past couple years. Let's be honest with ourselves, we watched this show, we saw this coming, but it's the manner in which he went about it. He couldn't have done this in a more distasteful and disrespectful way.
You're a dick, yo. I'm just gonna say it.
He got caught. I just want to move on.
I got 2 words for Liz. Yas and slay. In some ways, when you chase things so persistently, it pushes that very thing away. Liz, you need time for healing. You keep attracting these toxic partners because you haven't healed the wounds of the relationship that you had with your mother, and it's still carrying on to this day, and that's why you're trying to attract these partners that remind you of your mother and that relationship, and you keep trying to seek this validation from them, or that acknowledgement. Like, you want them to realistically look at you and tell you that you're worthy of love, when you should be giving that to yourself, but you can't because you don't know how to do so. You need to learn how to do so. You need to have those uncomfortable conversations with yourself in the mirror and really start to think about who you want to be. What version of yourself is the healthiest? What can you work on as a human being? Once you grow and learn how to love yourself, then you're going to attract a partner that's actually going to treat you right.
Liz, Ed, I'm not exactly sure what to say, and I don't know what. what the future of your relationship is, but I hope there's some healing down the line. Thanks so much.
This relationship was so convenient for Ed because he was aware that Liz had low self-esteem and he just exploited her so that she would go on the show with him. And I'll tell you what, if these two get back together after the tell-all, I might need to go to therapy. Ed proceeds to wear a smug look on his face and throw himself a little pity party. The host then thanks Rosemary Vega for her time of graciously coming back into Ed's life to expose him for the creep that he is. And honestly, I agree with her. Firm handshakes to Rose for this. Liz is spun out of her skull right now because this is the 12th time that this dude has broken up with her, so she gets up and walks away, and then Ed appears to wink to someone, and I don't know who he winks to. The audacity of this dude to not only cheat on this girl, but ask for the ring back when she calls him out for his shit was crazy to watch as a viewer. I legit gasped, and honestly, I hope that he doesn't give that ring to another girl. You think the One Ring is bad with Sauron's voice in your head? Imagine this little freak saying, "You're fat." Ironically enough, it seems that Liz can't escape the emotional damage because as they're walking to the back room, Kim accidentally calls her Rose. I know it wasn't intentional for Stan to do this. I think that she just legit got confused and had a moment, but it just seems like Liz can't escape being compared to Ed's ex.
It's been the best our relationship's ever been. This is not how I expected.
Liz, look at me. It's highly probable that everybody watching the show is blowing up your IG DMs. You need to stay single for a while. You keep trying to make Ed understand your worth and how vital you are in his life, but he continues to disrespect you and chase other options. So you need to take a step back and you need to prioritize yourself. Now, what those other options are remains to be seen, because a lot of us are struggling to believe that he has other options. Man thinks he's Jack Harlow, but I think the only options he has are hookers and girls trying to use him to get on reality TV.
I was pissed, and I just sat there and went, oh my God. So yeah, I'm like, I'll take the ring. It probably wasn't appropriate, but...
No, not at all.
It's obvious to everybody that has watched this couple interact that Liz and Ed trauma bonded. However, she places more of an importance on this bond than he does. Liz is irresponsible and foolish, especially because she is a mother. So at some point you need to reach a level of maturity where you recognize that the present you is very self-sabotaging, especially in a relationship setting, and you need to spend time alone in order to level up and be comfortable being with yourself, because a relationship shouldn't be about codependency. Also, there's that old saying, actions speak louder than words do. Instead of trusting Eggman's false promises, you should have been paying attention to his actions, especially during arguments. And it makes no sense from an outsider looking in, because not only is he an old man that can't process his emotions in a healthy way, he's arguably one of the ugliest people we've ever seen in our lives. And if anyone says looks don't matter, you're full of shit. Okay, so this girl's way out of this dude's league. There's different levels to this shit too. I've heard that saying, you give an ugly guy a chance. This is like you give a goblin a chance. This man looks like something out of a dungeon.
Today it just showed me, look, you don't support me. I owe her an apology though for asking for the ring back.
Well, I hope she's okay.
She's gonna be fine, and
Yeah, I hope so.
you know.
Oh, she's gonna be fine. So obvious that this man doesn't care about this girl. What kind of reaction is that, bro? And as for his point of Liz not supporting him, buddy, she sat with you in uncomfortable moments and tried to force you to face yourself so that you could grow as a human being. Not to mention put you first in this relationship. So to say that is not only a lie, very out of touch with the reality of the situation. What she did for you came at the cost of her own mental health, reputation, and sense of worth. Little Edward Brown, the level of devotion that this woman has given to you in this relationship is immense, but more importantly, undeserved.
There's nothing really there holding me back except, like, loving him. Like, I don't need him. I don't need him. I've never needed him. I've just always wanted him, so that sucks.
Lizzie, don't seek external validation because it never ends well. My advice for Liz and everybody that struggles with a lot of these same issues is to take 5 minutes out of your day and legit go talk to yourself in the mirror and just name 5 mental goals that you have for this year. As we start the new year, I know that most of y'all have already set those physical